Today, we're diving into a really intense case study. It's a high-stakes scenario that pits a massive, career-defining moment against a deeply unsettling personal mystery. You've got this impossible choice, you're under extreme pressure, so we're going to break down exactly how you handle a situation like this.
So, just imagine this for a second. You are literally minutes away from the most important meeting of your entire career. And then, bam, your personal life just seems to implode out of nowhere. You have absolutely no time to think, you just have to react. So what do? What do you prioritize? This isn't just some thought experiment, right? This is the reality for our protagonist, Philip.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll set the scene with the perfect storm. Then we'll deconstruct the dilemma itself. After that, we'll analyze the options at the crossroads of choice. We'll apply a framework for clarity, and finally, figure out the absolute best first move.
So, let's set the stage. Our guy, Philip, has been grinding for weeks on this crucial investor presentation. I mean, he's exhausted, but he's ready to go. The office is buzzing with that pre-meeting energy. But then, in the span of just 3 minutes, his world is about to get turned completely upside down.
Okay, the crisis builds with just incredible speed. It all happens so fast. At 7:55, a colleague rushes past and whoosh, scatters his carefully organized analytics everywhere. Super annoying, but, manageable. Then, just 1 minute later, he gets this bizarre call from his neighbor Timothy, something about loud noises. Before he can even process what that means, at 7:57, he tries calling his girlfriend Keisha. Straight to voicemail, and then the hammer drops. 7:58, his secretary pops her head in. The meeting starts in 5 minutes. It's a total cascade of professional and personal chaos all at once.
So this rapid-fire series of events creates two totally distinct, competing crises that are pulling Philip's focus in opposite directions. He's being forced to fight a war on two fronts, and that's really the heart of the problem here.
And this slide just perfectly lays out that tug-of-war happening inside his head. On one side, you've got the professional pressure. Look, this isn't just any meeting, it's a career-defining moment. Weeks of work, his reputation, maybe the company's future. It's all on the line. And on the other side, this deep personal mystery. A weird call, his girlfriend of 3 years is suddenly unreachable. The uncertainty is just, it's overwhelming.
So this crucial point is captured in this quote from the source material, and it really reflects his immediate gut reaction. He recognizes the total absurdity of the situation. He has to literally sort out his professional life, his papers, before he can even begin to think about his personal life. It's this moment of just grim, panicked realization. This brings us to the moment of truth. Philip is at a crossroads with two clear, but let's be honest, deeply flawed paths forward. So let's really break down the pros and cons of each potential choice he could make right now.
Okay, his first option is the professional one. Just push all that personal drama aside, walk into that boardroom, and focus 100% on the presentation.
Yeah, the pros here are pretty straightforward, right? He does his job, he could land the investors, and he avoids catastrophic career damage. But, and this is a big but, look at those cons. Can he really perform at his peak while his mind is just racing with anxiety about Keisha? That distraction could easily sabotage the very meeting he's trying to save.
The second option is to follow that gut impulse, to just drop everything, maybe even bolt from the office, and figure out what in the world is going on at home with Keisha. This is the personal path.
The main benefit here is just emotional relief. He might get immediate clarity and put his mind at ease. But the professional cost? Whoa, it is immense. He'd be abandoning his post at the most critical moment imaginable. And what if it's all just a big misunderstanding? He could be torpedoing his entire career for literally nothing. The risk is absolutely huge.
So, with emotions running this high and logic completely clouded by panic, how can anyone make the right call? This is where a simple decision-making tool can be a total lifesaver. We're going to apply what's called the urgent/important matrix to Philip's dilemma.
Now, for anyone who hasn't seen this before, it's super simple but incredibly powerful. This matrix, sometimes called the Eisenhower matrix, just helps you separate tasks that feel urgent from tasks that are truly important. It forces you to categorize everything into 4 boxes, giving you a clear path for what to do next.
So let's actually plot Philip's chaos onto this grid. The investor meeting, that clearly falls into quadrant 1. It is urgent and it is important. That's his do it now item. Okay,
Addressing the situation with Keisha is absolutely important, but it's not urgent in this exact 5-minute window, so it goes in quadrant 2, plan for later. Reacting to the weird neighbor's call. It felt urgent, sure, but it's not really important right now. That's quadrant 3. And finally, the spilled papers. Honestly, that's just noise. That's a distraction to be eliminated from his mind in quadrant 4.
So, what does this all tell us? Well, the framework just cuts right through the panic and makes the choice, well, crystal clear. The meeting is the only thing in that do now quadrant. The personal mystery, while deeply important, simply cannot be acted upon in the immediate time frame. Trying to solve it now would only sacrifice the one thing he can and must control.
All right, now that the Matrix has given us that clarity, we can move from just thinking about it to actually doing something. What is the smartest, most effective first move Philip can make in the few precious minutes he has left? Here's a super practical 3-step plan, and this is all about cognitive control. Step 1, compartmentalize. This is an act of pure mental discipline. He needs to acknowledge the worry, accept that he can't solve it right now, and then consciously park it to the side to free up his focus. Step 2, mitigate. He can take one small action to address the personal crisis without derailing the professional one. Sending a single calm text message does that. It acknowledges the issue and lets him mentally table it. And then, step 3, execute. With his mind as clear as it can be, he can then walk into that meeting and give it everything he's got.
Look, at the end of the day, this whole case study isn't just about Philip, is it? It's a blueprint for handling any situation where life and work collide without any warning. The framework gives us a way to find logic right in the middle of all that chaos. So I'll leave you with this. Knowing what you know now, with that clock ticking down, what would your first move be?